Alright, so this is Brett, the dog trainer, the dog savant, dogtrainingla.com. I'm going to make a video talking about actual dog training stuff, not philosophy, not like, but more like actual things that occurs in training sessions or in the process of helping. Usually I'm talking in the context of dogs like with behavior problems, in a lot of cases really severe ones, irregular leash reactivity, separation anxiety, severe levels of aggression, bite histories. All of that is what I work with, and there's a few of us that have the experience, and that's where we're coming from as far as what we talk about, our confidence in what we do, because it works and it's not our opinion. There's a lot of track record showing that and evidence and blah blah blah. And I guess reason why is because I'll talk about something that some people will not agree with as far as a technique or a process, part of the process a dog has to go through, or at least the way I do it. And there's other people who do it with the same end result. What's the end result? A happy dog that is content and feels safe in everyday life, common situations and social events or environments, unless there's an actual bona fide situation that is not safe for them or their owners or their property's needs or existence, and then they can react as such, fight or flight. And if a dog is trained to be more on command for these things, well, that's a different level. And the people who struggle with dog behavior issues, they certainly don't have a dog that's, trained for protection and fully trustworthy and is, basically like a weapon that you have been trained to utilize, as has the weapon been trained to activate. That's not what we're talking about. And we're not talking about being in an agility ring or in a dog training room, controlled environments, or with goals of just shaping behaviors with, again, dogs that do not have issues like reactivity, separation anxiety, impulse control problems. They have an overall balanced and nice relationship with their owners based on trust, based on listening and value in their command and intervention is the first priority. Again, unless, and again, there's a real bona fide threat to the owner, property, dog's well-being, safety, long-term existence. Otherwise, in a lot of cases, you just should be ignoring things. So I wanted to talk about today, with all that said, about sometimes how dogs are going to resist. And I've done podcasts about this, I've done videos, but let's do an updated 2026 version. So a lot of times, I had this today in a case where it's a dog. She has reactivity. She's a sweet dog, and I like her a lot. She's really cute too. And it's like a terrier mix, maybe I'd say in her mid 20 pounds, maybe a little bit less, and tall. And came to the owner not terribly long ago, so the issue is there existing, but she has very strong reactivity. And this is where it's a little bit more than the average, because there's another dog in the home who's that dog could use some training too, and we're working on some things, but she's reacting to him, like when there's certain transitions, new events, the owner's doing something between them, or the other dog's passing by. And a lot of people with experience knowing how to deal with reactivity, even in the home, know this has a lot to do with movement, proximity to the owner, or situations pending that the dog is over anticipating or already caught up in, and the other dog or the person or whatever is going on is now seen as a threat or a startle to that heavy fixation, and it's like all on, and that's your reactivity or aggression. Usually it's reactivity where they don't quite bite, or they'll mow, but they're not like breaking skin. Nothing, it's not appropriate, but there's levels to it. So also, a dog has reactivity on a leash, with guests coming to the home, and people, and even more so to dogs when they when sees them or they're approaching, in public again or in the house. So we have to curb that, and it starts from the ground up. This dog hasn't learned how not to be vigilant around humans. So she's sweet, but she's just following, and she's alert, and when you do a thing with one dog, she's got to be part of it, always having that fear of missing out, the FOMO for dogs. I joke with my clients, but just to give them a picture, like, this is really extreme, because your dog feels that's how they get separation anxiety. They feel that if they're not getting their needs met by keeping track and proximity and reacting to the movement, even if it's just getting up to go to the bathroom, or somebody coming in and out of a room, or they're getting fed soon and they're thinking 10 steps ahead, it's like very frustrating for certain personality types, breeds, or dogs who just learn to have that personality type by previous, past experiences with or without being around humans. Sorry for my car clicking. It's just on automatic drive. I want to do this video. I had this on my mind, so I figured I'd let the car take care of it, but you'll hear the turn signal go because I don't have control of that. So dogs. So in the session we were at a park. So we did a couple lessons in the home, working on the structure, all these things I just described. How do you curb it? Place training, having the dog make calm choices through commands, deep levels of focus, mindfulness, turning off that overstimulated response to movement and things that are going, or the interaction socially between the dog and people or other dogs. So we have to do that on a walk. So we do heel training, sit training, checking in with like recalls where I let them kind of go out to whatever because we're trying to really, I say this is like curbing an addiction. If you have a drinking problem or gambling problem or smoking, eating, whatever, I have a sugar problem these days, that's my vice, you can't really eat any of it, or you can eat any, you can't do any of it, right? I only drink once a week. You still have a drinking problem because if you really want to stop the thing in your brain and shrink that down to where it's not so quick to release, because if you get what I've learned, you keep doing that stuff, it's more likely to go back to the levels or even worse than where you did when you tried to curb it down to less, but you're still doing it. Dog training is like that when it comes to curbing severe problem behaviors, because these dogs really, really, really feel that these reactions have kept life and their needs getting met, even if it's just the misinterpretation. And if I freak out on the end of a leash, well, the other owner or my owner turns the other direction or crosses the street, and now we don't have to deal with it. Hey, that kept us safe. Me and my owner are good. And why do dogs do it more on a leash when it comes to the reactivity? Because they're restricted. Around their owner, they feel they're a resource and they have to keep track of them because it's working at home, and they don't have, for that dog's needs, the relationship that convinces them. Even that's why I tell people, don't just think we're going to train your dog on a leash, because this is again what I'm leading to here. Why does the dog listen better to me? Because I don't live the life with the dog because it's not my I don't move around the house in their eyes. I'm not something that's seen as a resource. I come and I train, I leave. It's easier for them to even, and then I think this way, so they feel an energy to it, and I have to teach the owners to do that. So yeah, the owners sometimes just become that resource that when they're trying to handle the dog, they're like, I don't want you to tell me to stay on this leash when there's a dog coming. I follow you all over the house to get my needs met, and you baby me and let me on the furniture and jump all over you. Choose one or all of the above. And many other things too, just even asking for stuff. Anyway, so that's why, again, dogs, and we have to complement this. So work on the walks, work on the home structure. It's all at once, just like a rehab. You want to, do anything new and build and get through it. And now here's again, I said this 5 times the point. It's the stress. So the owner, I say, hey, your dog's still leading you on the leash. That's why she's still reacting when you see dogs. Get her behind you and make her stay, and reward her and encourage her with heel and sit, and just let her know where to pay her attention to. So as you encounter things, she's more likely to check in with you, because you're promoting the eye contact where she's in command, and then intermittently she looks up at you and you reward it, and keep building that as a norm. When she's in command, then you release it or segue it to a different command as needed. So when she started doing it, her dog was, because I finally said, no, you got to grip up on the leash, because she was trying to heel and I was behind him, and the dog kept turning around and like walking backwards to keep reacting to me, because I'm like, you're not controlling her head and commitment to that command where you want it to be, and to even look up at you. So once she gripped the leash better, and again, not to hold the dog tight, but to just like, hey, I need you at my side, and I need you to focus with me. Yes, with a training collar behind the ears, and you do like a pumping. I don't correct dogs, I don't snap leashes, it's just more like a pumping. And what happens is that the dog starts panicking, like, oh my God, the owner doesn't do this. I'm always controlling the walk, and I thought that's what kept us safe. And I was the first person that the dog was reacting to. So what we had to do is like kind of keep moving, and then finally she relaxed. But at first, and this is what happens, is a lot of dogs will start reacting to that. Oh my God, you're making me stay put. You're making me stay behind you. You're making me look in the direction or what's behind me. And it's like, well, now you have to give up the control, but here's your replacement behavior. Here's your command. That's why I hold such high value in commands. I'm doing bird hands. Boop, boop, boop. So many trainers. Boop, 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 boop. Sorry, I get a little crazy. So yeah, or you'll get a dog that'll jump up, and a lot of trainers know what I'm talking about. Like they'll grab the leash, they'll double paw it, they'll roll around, and you don't want to battle them. You're not trying to stress them out more. You just go for like, okay, let's take a break or sit, because sit, maybe movement's a little hard, because it's that first disruption of the fight and flight mechanism. That's what this is all coming to, is that it's that disruption of the fight and flight that sometimes a dog will like, holy shit, I can't react and bark because you're taking control, and something in me says I can't do what I always did, but I don't know if this command is valid yet. We haven't practiced it yet, and that's why the owners have to practice. Like, well, you're heeling your dog around the house, so on a walk, heel is familiar, and it seems like something you know how to handle it because you've shown that's how we get around to our common, environments or through them. So dogs will bite the leash, okay? So you want to be skillful with it. It doesn't last long. Usually within like the first round of training, the dog starts trusting, and it might restart when you get into new. Like, oh, we've never encountered like a dog this close or a new person in the house, and you work it through. And again, it's not about fighting the dog. I've seen dogs, it's funny, last Saturday there were 3 group classes going on all at once in the park where I do mine in Sherman Oaks, and I saw a trainer really correcting the dog. I'm like, that's not great either. You're snapping the dog. I'm like, try to draw focus. Use the leash with a little low-grade pressure, like a vibration, a pump, like a stimulus almost, right in the right spot, so they're not pulling with an opposition reflex. Or even a martingale, depends on the dog. A Star Mark collar, I use them all the time on very, kind of light dogs that aren't such, overdrawn and, even just big, strong ones. So it's, again, people that use those collars, you're snapping it, yanking, cranking. That's not me, at least, and trainers I know that are, they're definitely, it's not about like a consequence. It's about, let's hold focus. Let's get through this while your attention's a little more on my game plan, with me physically being in front of you, because there's some instincts related to, hey, I'm in front. You're not, getting ahead, trying to be first to deal with this dog, unless I act like something's wrong, or person at the door, and work it through and let the dog be conscious. This is the last part that people don't always understand. It's a mindfulness element. The dog being conscious and so single-pointedly focused in the command, like they're meditating, and anyone who's meditated knows what I'm talking about. The dog can actually see things in perspective without the emotions getting in the way. I do that all the time. When I meditate and keep with my practice, something that normally would get me to react, I can observe it, and I get a positive reinforcement, if you will, because I feel better, because when you get upset or stressed, it doesn't feel good, and the dog will learn that in itself, aside from all the conditioned responses we're creating and the instinct to follow a leader, to trust their intervention in these situations that stress them. So I guess that was, dogs sometimes will resist training, but if you know how to deal with it in the proper way and not make it worse, it's a part of the process. They sometimes you have to deal with face the stuff that you don't know how to face, but someone helping you, or the right game plan or the right mindset trained, so that you can, human, dog, whatever, it's for the both, can deal with it in the future better without even a lot of preparation or techniques or whatever you want to call it. That's the goal of all training. It's like, well, let's make your dog heel through the park until they learn, at least with a command, heel, sit down, they can get through this, or not follow you around the house for a month or two by more crate training, tethering them to the place, walking them around the house, giving them structured walks, and then giving them exercise so that they can get all of those, blow off the steam. That's and then the goal is to not have to, you always need to give your dog exercise and all that, but usually training's then as needed. It's not like a lifestyle. The dog gets it as long as you don't fully indulge and put the energy out there that's like out of control. Your dog will say, all right, I get it. You've proven your value, and you've shown me clearly what you need from me day after day, instance after instance. And now I can do this more on my own, because most dogs have that great potential. I'm telling you, you can follow me around all day and see what I'm doing. I see it's got to be 20 to 30 dogs a week on average for at least the past 15 years, and still at least 10 to 20 dogs when I was younger, and more starting out 10, 15 years prior to that. So again, I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I'm basing this on this works. It's just, and some people do discount it, or they don't believe it. They think I'm fabricating everything I say That's what the other gang does. I don't have opinions. I'm saying valid facts based on a whole lot of observation, seeing a lot of patterns play out. And if you know how to work those patterns and understand really how a dog's mind is, and their learning theory and their instincts and their perception and their sensory component, which a lot of trainers don't talk about. I'm going to be giving a talk about that at the IACP conference in August. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I mean, you're not going to make them feel that your intentions or the consistent conditioned responses to even, again, movement and just common social events and environments is valid enough that they can let it go and trust that by letting it go, it's still safe. Because everything's based on a dog thinking that that's the end of it, or the end of their resource is and environments. And in any dog I see, it's an overreaction. There's not really that happening. And if it really was, the dog would be conscious enough to recognize it. Okay, thank you so much. Send a message. Let me know how these videos help. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff too. Thank you.